What's up, homegirls? ¿Qué onda, morras? Welcome to Te Crees Muy Muy podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie. This is episode 31. Thank you for stopping by. It means a lot to me. If this is the first time you're checking out this podcast, thank you. Gracias por el apoyo. I appreciate it. I will say check out other episodes because this one is going to be unhinged all over the place. This is the first time that I don't use a script or a guide, and it will be shorter. The other episodes are more structured, so please go ahead and check them out. If you are a subscriber or return listener, muchas gracias. Let me go ahead and get started. So I've talked about this a couple times in other episodes that life has been lifing for me, and it's been like this for like the last maybe 2 months or so. These episodes normally drop on Mondays, and today is Friday the 19th. This is going to be an episode where facatela, I'm not even going to edit it. It is what it is. Happy Friday, like a fodonga episode type of thing. I wanted to talk about a couple things that are happening that are current, be more light, because I know that sometimes I focus on really heavy duty stuff. And like I mentioned before, I never wanted to be so pesado all the time. I wanted to talk about the World Cup because I know that it's popular right now. I don't know about y'all, but being first gen Chicana, I grew up watching soccer. That was the main sport that was always watched here at the house. Somos Americanistas. And I didn't grow up watching NFL or baseball or basketball or any of that stuff. So it's funny, and you guys are going to be like, calm down. You're not like the number one fan of FIFA or like football, soccer, whatever. I'm not. But it's just funny to see how Americans, which includes white Americans, black Americans, Asian Americans, otras razas Americans, not all, but the majority of them who really don't fuck with soccer that are like getting into it. It's funny. It's cute. Like, yeah, for us who grew up watching soccer, especially us first gens, like we've been knowing about soccer. Me da mucho gusto that people are not falling for the propaganda about Mexico and the United States. Say what it is. No country is perfect. As much as the United States gives, it also takes. You know, Mexico también tiene lo de ello, but I'm so happy that people are having a good time in Guadalajara, Mexico City. Dr. Simi, that fool is all over the place. It's so funny. I've been seeing so many videos on Instagram and on TikTok about how, for example, there's a Coke delivery truck and they're yelling Pepsi, Pepsi, and vice versa. Pepsi está, doing a delivery and they're going Coca, Coca. It's so funny seeing all the cultures like together, seeing and I hate to say this because they say that like sometimes that Americans are stupid because we call Europeans, there's so many different countries in Europe. But to see all the Europeans trying Mexican food, seeing the Middle Eastern countries like dancing with other Mexicans and like bandas and grupos norteños like playing their beats and stuff. It's cool to see that. How they lift up like the random fans that are not from Mexico up in the air. That shit's hilarious. Like they picked up a cop lady like randomly. They started throwing her in the air and it was so funny. Like she was laughing her ass off, but it was just funny. También the duck, it's everywhere. But we also talk about the other side too of like seeing all the people protest and upset, and rightfully so, Cuando estás mirando all the marches of las madre buscadoras, that shit's sad. That's really, really sad. There was a gentleman who, I don't know if he was part of the march or he's just there. He was giving little pieces of paper like with his loved ones or loved one that is missing, and people were hella ignoring him. And then eventually they interviewed him, and I saw I didn't see the video. I saw like posts, like picture posts. And that he was saying that he was sorry that he didn't have any money para hacer unos volantes, which if you don't know what volantes are, it's flyers, to give to people so they can see it. And then there was another video of a European lady like hugging a Mexican lady whose loved one is missing. And that's the grim like reality to the other side. A lot of Mexicans were upset. And granted, I don't live in Mexico, para que no digan like, why are you talking about stuff que doesn't pertain to you? You don't live in Mexico. But I saw a lot of reports because I follow Mexican pages on Instagram, how a lot of a lot of its citizens, like Mexican people, were upset that they were wasting hella money on like fixing the subway. They were putting like fancy light, like stuff that does like light fixtures, I guess you could say, que they were saying que no estaban bonitos, they didn't even work, o estaban chuecos, etc. So a lot of chaos going on too. I have a lot of FOMO. I think like 2 nights ago or 3 in Guadalajara, Maná gave a free concert and over 120,000 people showed up for that concert. I was like, that's sick. All the different countries like trying like foods and stuff. And what I think it's hella funny here in the United States that they call us like fat Americans, that we're hella lazy, that our food is hella unhealthy, which is true. Some stuff is unhealthy. There's like a lady who like went to like Cheesecake Factory and like Chili's and like fucking In-N-Out at the same day. And people were like saying, dude, like, you know, take your time and stuff. But then people were saying, it doesn't matter because they're going to go back home too and they have free healthcare. I think it's funny how when they try out In-N-Out, some of them are trying out In-N-Out for the first time, like in LA, because there is a difference, y'all, whether you try it like in California or in a different state, si sabe diferente. But a lot of people in Europeans, I'm just going to call them Europeans, I don't care. What they don't understand is that it's the best fast food in a sense that's fresh because everything is fresh. Because a lot of people shit on In-N-Out saying que las papas están like hella hard or they don't taste good. It's not that they don't taste good, it's because they're fresh. You see all the chamacos in the back hella cutting them. You can ask them for extra crispy. Like, están buenas, it's just that they don't taste like McDonald's and stuff. And a lot of people say that they're mid y esto y que el otro. Like, y'all know I have gut issues. And I'm not just saying this por pura conveniencia. That's one of the hamburgers that que me puedo comer toda. It doesn't give me issues. The only thing that I do have to say is like, and this is regardless where I go, the onions have to be like grilled and light on the sauce because I'm not really like, a veces la tascan and I'm like, nah. But other than that, it's good. It's just seeing people, and now they also understand air conditioning, the concept of how we like everything iced. Because I don't know if you guys saw that there was hella teams, the Europe hella practicing it, and supposedly, allegedly heat. It wasn't even heat. They were hella complaining that it was hella hot. Les estaban poniendo ice packs. So to see all that stuff is like cool and stuff. Y que finally they're kind of realizing that some of the stuff is propaganda. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the president or the news or anything like that because they're si hay desmadre in this country. But I'm glad to see that they're having a good time and people are enjoying themselves. Also, too, there was this girl on, I think it was either on Instagram or on TikTok, no me acuerdo, that she was saying that she went on to Twitter. I still call it Twitter. I know que se llama X, but Twitter. I believe it was on Twitter or on Threads, but I want to say Twitter, that Mexicans and Chicanos were in shambles. They were hella fighting, going at it on Twitter, because of the whole like being first gen and how a lot of Chicanas root for the US, and then Mexicans get mad and say that, oh, con lo nopal en la frente, bunch of pochos and pochas. And it's like, y'all can't have it both fucking ways. First, they hella shit on us because we're supposedly, allegedly a whole bunch of no sabos, right? And then we don't root for Mexico and then they shit on us. So it's like, you guys can't have it both ways. And here's the thing, and I'm going to do a hot take, and you guys are going to be like, what the fuck? Calm down. You're not the president of FIFA. I have a hot take. So obviously my parents, born and raised in Mexico, Michoacan, my sisters and I were first gen Chicanas. Not counting the youngest one because of like the huge age gap. So let's just say myself, I'm in the middle, my oldest sister and the sister after me. Okay, so somos tres, and not counting the very last one, the youngest one. This was a soccer, football, whatever household, and it still is. Somos americanistas. We've never watched la MLS. And I'm not saying like, oh, to sound hella cool or whatever. No, for real. I'm like not trying to shit on it. If you're a fan of that, cool. Because you're part of that culture that brings it here to the U.S., right? I've never watched the MLS. I'm trying to remember, and I'm not trying to be funny. I don't think I've ever watched an MLS partido, like a whole thing. I have never, ever, ever rooted for the U.S. Never, ever. It's always been Mexico. And here's a hot take. I know that, like, por ejemplo, in Europe, hay diferentes ligas, right? Like the Premier League and then the other ones, whatever, right? Obvio, eso yo entiendo. But like over here, it's just like literally that I'm aware of. It's like la MLS, and I forgot the other one that there is. I think there's another one. No me acuerdo, right? Anyways. And like with the Mexican League, pues it's just see, I like a level, I don't want to say level 2, but like segunda división, right? So I get it in that aspect too. But hot take, if you're first gen, you can only root for one team. There's none of this bullshit que le vas a las dos squads. And, oh, well, once the United States plays, and then le voy a Mexico once they play, and vice versa. Oh, Mexico got eliminated, well, ya le voy al U.S. Oh, the U.S. got eliminated, now let me root for Mexico. Hell no, y'all. If you're a true, real soccer fan, you guys know that you only root for one soccer squad or team or whatever, and that's it. Granted, I know there's different leagues, so that's where you can have multiple, but that's my hot take. Like, por ejemplo, if the United States ever played against Argentina, I would root for the stadium. I would root for the ref. I would never root for Argentina. If you know, you know. If Mexico gets eliminated, if and when Mexico gets eliminated, because I'm a realistic soccer fan as well, and I've been through the heartbreaks with Mexico, skate like sheesh, right? I remember those good-ass Brazilian teams. I remember those good Mexican teams que pues no se pudo, el Matador. Like, I remember him, Cuauhtémoc, bro. I remember his last Mundial. It was so sad to see him porque como ya está, because you know in soccer standards, like once you reach like maybe 30 or your late 20s, you're kind of considered old. Some of them can like stretch it out maybe until like mid 30s, pero yeah, you can totally, even if you're a good soccer player, you could totally tell que yeah, like the youngsters are hella outrunning you. I remember seeing that con Cuauhtémoc, even though that fool was a beast. Like, I remember the last Mundial que mirabas, because I don't believe for some of the matches, if I remember correctly, because no me acuerdo tan bien, I don't think he would play a whole game, o lo sacaban. But I remember que, like, he'd be, like, running, or he would try to, whatever, help, y se lo llevaban, dude, because ya estaba rucón. And I think those type of players, like Sague, Matador, Cuauhtémoc, like Jorge Campos, I don't think we're ever going to see those type of players again. Like those type of, like Cuauhtémoc, he like, yeah. And I'm not just saying this because soy americanista. Like, I hate to say this because it feels hella cringe, pero jugaban con huevos. Like, you need someone que sea así bien enojón and to que se eche el equipo on their back. And I just don't see that from these players. And granted, every generation is going to be like different, right? Uno que los regaña, que diga, hey, you know, like, I'm going to be like, hey, cabrón, you know, play better. Or like, because I don't know if y'all noticed that Memo, like he's more level-headed, like cálmense and stuff. I've seen other goalies do that, like les meten un goal or something happens or no están cubriendo or like they're making mistakes. Like the goalie would fucking like yell at them and get in their face like, hey, fool, like, you know, cálmense or do this or do that, kind of instruct. And like Rafa Márquez as well too, like Borghetti, like Pavel Pardo. Yeah, like eso ya no se va a ver, el conejo and stuff. I remember that. But anyways, so that's kind of my hot take. And I feel like that goes for any other sport. And maybe because I was just raised as a one team. Even for like the NFL, like I said, I didn't watch like American football growing up. I didn't. That goes for basketball, like I said. So my dad would watch it, but like he wouldn't have a team until my sister, the oldest one, got married to one of the biggest Raider fans I know. He's been on TV. He's been in the newspaper, hella stuff. And I learned through him how to be like a fan, even though I was already a fan of El America. It's just a different type of fandom, I guess you could say. And they don't have, I feel like once your team gets eliminated, you start rooting for any other Latin American team, like I said, except Argentina, if you know, you know. You start rooting for them too, right? Now, obviously there's like the greats que no son like from Latin America, right? Because if you know ball, you know ball. But that goes for like you're always going to root for the underdogs too. And that's my hot take. So yeah, I knew that shit was coming, like the whole pochos versus, and then this is what happens. I always talk shit. I say that every time I see a good video, I'm going to save it or at least write down the name of the handle name so you guys can check it out. There was like this vet, he's a veteran, I think. He's like probably around my age or maybe a little bit older, and he was in his truck and talking shit about how the Mexicans don't even like Chicanos. And how he would always root for the U.S. and that he was going to go home and drink some type of beer or something. And I was like, dude, that shit's hella cringe. And hella people were making fun of him in the comments and stuff. Like, bro, you're trying too hard. If you only knew that the Americans and whites don't even like you either. And you're over here defending this country. But anyways, so there's that. And then Dr. Simi, that fool's everywhere too. So it's pretty cool to like see it. So there's that. Also too, something that I don't know why. I'm still like, I'm happy that when more women are replying. I just can't believe it. It's that post that I put on Instagram. I mean, on TikTok about how, at like, what age did you know that motherhood wasn't for you? I still can't get over it, y'all. Like, that post, people are still replying every single day. I get about, maybe now that it's really slowed down, about maybe one or two or maybe even three on some days reply. But it's crazy because some of y'all, if you were the ones that replied, are putting since like the age of 5 and 8. And I trip out at that because like, and then I wasn't expecting, I know that sometimes when I post questions on TikTok, I know that some of the questions tend to be personal and not everybody's going to go all up in there and like hella share. And for the ones that do engage and share, and thank you, I appreciate it. I read every single comment. And there's women who said que sí querían, but they had miscarriages. And after going through that trauma or having several miscarriages, ya no quieren. And my heart goes out to you because I could only imagine how hard that must be, because it's actually something that you wanted versus something that you don't want. I don't know if that makes sense. A lot of women said que porque tuvieron que cuidar a sus brothers and sisters, that they were like, hell no, like I love them to death. They're like my kids, low key, pero yo no quiero, I don't want to go through that. Some said que sí querían y que the partner never came and it was already like in a way kind of too late. Some said abuse. Anything and everything that was said in that thread was valid. A girl said that she was so happy that she saw other women reply because she kind of in a way felt lonely. And I just find it interesting because right now, I had mentioned that these last maybe like 3 months have been so different for me in my life. My sister just had another baby. So maybe like 2 weeks ago, I want to say she's about to be 2 weeks old or 3. No me acuerdo. I think 2. And she already has a toddler that she's going to be 2 in the next couple months. And it trips me out to see my sister as a mom. And my mom is helping her with the cuarentena. You know, if you know, you know. And these 2 pregnancies for her were really different. I wanted a boy, me selfishly, because there's no boys in my family. But I was shook when she had the girl because we all thought it was going to be a boy. Y mirar a my sister to be a mom for the second time hella trips me out because it's just a reminder how fast and how life is always changing, whether you want it to change or not. And that leads me to comfort zone. So I had 2 job positions available to me. Not available like I already have them. I got contacted about 3 weeks ago off of an eligibility list for a position that I decided a long time ago that I just was done applying because I just felt like it just wasn't for me, of trying so many different ways and just no se me hizo. And they emailed me like 3 weeks ago that if I was interested because there was 4 positions available. It's a longer process for the background and the other stuff, so it's not something immediate. I was shook because I never thought this opportunity would come to me, and I wasn't even obviously looking for it. And I said yes. And I want to tell you that getting out of your comfort zone, you guys, it's fucking hard. It just shows me that, like, if you decide to leave your comfort zone, it's, at least for me, and I'm not saying this to like scare you or anything, because I know you guys are going to be like, no shit. A mí me trae bien descalabrada because it was 2 different positions, different industries that came to me. The other position I applied for thinking that a ver lo que pasa, fáquetela, you know, just whatever. Y bolas, I'm hella advanced. I have, I guess you could say, the final interview, I guess you could say, next month. And then if I get a job offer, then training wouldn't start until the beginning of the year, kind of, in a way. And that has me like hella descalabrada in a sense that being a former recruiter has advantages and disadvantages, because usually I'm on the other side, right? I'm the one interviewing folks, etc. And granted, I always say this, that the type of recruiting that I did wasn't like tech recruiting. It was more like industrial admin positions, office positions, production, warehouse, forklift drivers, winery positions, stuff like that. So it wasn't like tech, engineer, healthcare, etc. But now that I'm the one getting interviewed, I think I overanalyze and think y me chinga. And I'm trying to prepare and think of all the questions that I can answer, but I can't. There's no way that you can be 100% prepared. You can only control what you can control. And I think life is showing me that right now, that like I literally have to take it day by day. Porque yo no puedo controlar lo que no puedo controlar. I know you guys are going to be like, no shit, right? But like, when they called me for the first, it's a panel interview for the first job. Let's just call it job A. I was like, oh shit, okay. And I felt like I took my time, but I also felt like I was long-winded. And I was overanalyzing them as I was answering que escribían y que no. And I was like, you had half an hour only to finish the whole interview. You didn't have to take up the whole half an hour. I got there right on time, which I just had a whole bunch of shit happen in the morning. And the lady even came out and looked. Granted, I was there right on time, but that's not the point. I should have been there like minimum 10 minutes early, right? Son cositas that I tell you guys to do. And I did some of them, whatever. I interviewed and then I left, y'all, and it was a 45-minute drive there and back. I left hella overstimulated, partly because también no había comido. I was just fucking like, damn, I felt like that interview whooped my ass. Like I drove in silence back to my sister's house. To my sister's house and stuff after the interview. And I was like, holy shit, whatever. So a couple days later, they're like, congratulations, you advanced to the next one. Like I had a week to prepare, but you can't really prepare because no sabes qué te van a preguntar, because the obvious questions, like how does your experience, prepare you for this role, or why this, or what do you think of this, or what is the meaning, or whatever, right? I've already answered those questions. Even if I try to do research on like Reddit or try to do something, no, you just can't. And that's something that I had to sit with. And that shit was bugging the fuck out of me and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I can't. I'm going to let it go. And that's, so I was having that. And then for job B, I applied and I sent, same thing. They were doing like interviews, but era video interviews. A lot of people are doing that now, like video interviews and stuff. And AI is taking care of a lot of stuff. So I was like, fuck. And then you have only 2 try and just shit like that. And I was like, fuck that. I probably bombed this shit too. I waited for a week and I didn't hear anything. Dije, pues ahí quedó. And congratulations, you're moving to the next step. And then I didn't hear anything. And then I was like, okay, until ayer on my, when was it? Yeah, ayer, like on my way, like while I was getting ready for interview A here at my house. I was like, holy shit. And then me fui a caminar. I'm like, fuck this. This is my time to walk. I'm not going to worry about anything. It is what it is or whatever. And for job B, I really can't do anything because the main interview is until next month and I have some time to prepare. But yeah, and I had therapy and I have access to her where I can send her voicemails and stuff or voice texts. And I told her, I was like, so it's not anxiety that I'm feeling. I was like, I was just unprepared because I thought I did bad. I was like, I thought these opportunities, like, iban a llegar to, like, I don't think I was going to advance how I'm advancing. And she started laughing. She goes, but what's causing you the friction? I'm like, because I feel like I'm just not prepared. I'm like, and this is before I had the group one or whatever. I mean, not the group one, the last interview for job A. And she's like, you want to know something? She goes, it's not really anxiety. She goes, it's because you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And she goes, these jobs, you are saying yes to them and you're winging it. Even though you say you have a hard time going with the flow, maybe there's friction, but you're still doing it. You're still doing it because the fact that these 2 jobs have nothing to do from the industry that you came from. And that's why you probably are feeling partly que no puedes controlar, because if these positions were for like a recruiter or recruiting coordinator per se, well, you know que tú de volada, you're kind of in a way already know how the job is going to be. Tú le puedes acomodar with your experience. With these jobs, yes, you can use your experience and talk, but you don't know what's next. And that's part of stepping out of your comfort zone. And I wanted to let you know that I'm proud of you, etc. I'm like, I know, pero me siento bien descalabrada. And she goes, okay. She goes, that's fine. She goes, what you could do is you could do a brain dump up to half an hour each day. If you need to go an hour, do it. But I don't think you're going to have half an hour of your time. She goes, sit down and write anything. And it doesn't even have to be ruminating. She goes, if you're not even going through ruminating, just write down what you feel is that internal conflict. Just write it for half an hour, clear your head. She goes, and that's really, really going to help you. And then read it back. And then you're going to see that a lot of the stuff is just like que tienes nervios because you're stepping into a place that's unknown. And that hella calmed me down and like helped me and stuff. But I was like, shit, okay. I was like, so yeah. So I probably am assuming I won't know anything about job A until maybe next week. And even if I get like a job offer, it's still quite a ways to go because of background and other stuff. With job B, it's not until next month. And then there's gonna be a long wait period and stuff. So yeah, it's fucking crazy, you guys. But I want to say something before I let you guys go because this is already gonna be like close to half an hour, and I said this was gonna be a short episode. I told my because when I was talking to my therapist about these two positions, right, que son bien diferentes, I had told her she's like, I'm really surprised that you applied for position B, and I was like, me too. I'm like, but I want to tell you something. She goes, okay. I'm like, for job B is going to require to step out of my comfort zone a lot because I'm an introvert extrovert. Being a recruiter as an introvert can sometimes be hard because le tienes que aprender. Like if I had to do group interviews, like I could do it, but then I need my time alone to decompress, right? And job, as an example, that was just recruitment or whatever. But for job B, it will require for me to be like, it's going to be customer service heavy, but in a way, kind of like different customer service in a sense. And she goes, I'm really surprised. And I'm like, you know why partly I applied? I'm like, because I've noticed that when you are switching careers or you're trying to figure out what the next step is, we feel like these jobs that we are applying to when we're trying to do a pivot is that we're going to be there for the rest of our lives. And sometimes you can treat a regular job as a temporary one until you figure it out because it's easier to find a job when you already have a job. I'm like, a job B is going to allow me to do so many things that I've been trying to do for the last couple of years que no podía for whatever reason, because it's not I told her, I'm like, for me, I'm realistic and I know what the job is going to be, but it's going to allow a lot of flexibility. It's going to allow me time to play and do different stuff. I'm like, we don't allow ourselves to think like that sometimes cuando estamos buscando trabajo because of the fact that it's society, it's your job, take it, be there for 5 years, excel, esto y que el otro. It doesn't have to always be like that. She had read me a passage about a book that there was this, I don't know if it's like a true story or just fiction, but I think it was a true story, some lady's biography. She's a writer and she was writing about how she took a job that was not glamorous. And that when we as adults, like a veces no nos dejamos ese tiempo to play, or we take everything in a way so seriously. And of course, right? Because we need to pay our bills, we need to eat, especially if you're married, have children, lo que sea. You have big responsibilities, un car payment, rent, house, car, lo que sea, or other people are depending on you from income. So sometimes we're living paycheck to paycheck. The lady in the book said that she took a job en la noche. I think it was at a restaurant or something, o algo que tenía que trabajar, no, en un hotel or something like that, que tenía que trabajar en la noche. And that gave her the mornings free to be able to write and relax and have easy mornings, which will allow her to read, to concentrate, and do things that she wants to do in the morning. She goes, that's the trade-off. Yeah, I may be at this job that sucks ass, pero me da the freedom to pursue my hobbies in the morning. It may not pay the best, but aunque sea me alcanza for my basic and mis chicles. And I was like, okay, that made sense. She goes, why? She's like, when you applying for work, I get it. Obviously, you don't want to be applying for work like every year. I get it. But remember that even if you stay there a year or two, it's fine. Y si te gusta el trabajo, cool, keep at it. I said, but they don't owe you anything. You don't owe them anything. And I always remember that. So when I applied to job B, I'm like, fuck it, let me just see. I seriously thought I wasn't going to make it, and facatela, I did. So these two jobs are completely different. But there's a good possibility too that neither of them go through. And that's okay. I was able to find a temp job right now. I start on Tuesday. And that's going to allow me to pay my bills and to be able to have like breathing room and maybe start doing stuff que quiero hacer. It's a short contract, but possibility to extend up to 6 months. And that's fine because that's part of living in the moment too. Es que not worry about job A or job B. Ahorita, like, lo que tengo es lo que tengo, and that's it. The job is going to be, from what I can tell and based on my experience, it's going to be really easy. But hopefully I learn new skills. And if I don't, it's okay. Gracias a Dios that I'm able to get a job que me voy a poder pagar mis chicles and my bills and just keep going. And either jobs don't pan out, that's okay. And I think that we need to allow ourselves that flexibility. I know it's easier said than done when, people are past due on their bills. They have big, huge responsibilities, etc. Pero I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to be fucking 40 in January. My bad. I'm going to be 40 in January. No estoy casada, no tengo chamacos. I can just get up and leave. How come I don't use that free will? Granted, everything that these decisions that I'm making about these jobs, se las entrego a Dios. Like I mentioned, I'm a believer, and what I did is I grab the job descriptions that I get from the jobs that I apply to and they call me for interviews. I release everything to God and say, whether I'm going to be a good fit here, whether I'm going to be able to do the job mentally, physically, emotionally, if the ambiente is going to be for me or not, if I'm going to get along. Tú sabes todo. And I know that not everything is spiritual and it's not that deep, right? But for these positions, lo que sea job, se los entrego a Dios. Take care of it. And I'm Catholic, yes, believe it or not. I know que soy bien Chicana, but I'm Catholic. I have a little statue, está chiquito. It's a sleeping Saint Joseph, and he's a patron saint of work too. So I grabbed the job description and I folded it y se lo puse abajo. Y le dije, take care of it, intercede for me, y llévale mis peticiones to God, and he knows whether this is for me. And obviously, I'm doing my part too. I'm not going to be like praying and asking for work and then I don't apply for jobs, because it doesn't work like that. And for those of you who say, oh, well, you're not supposed to believe in saints. So it's the same thing like when you ask people for prayer, we ask the saints to intercede for us. It's the same thing, because I also go to God directly. I don't have to go to Saint Joseph. I do both. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of like the whole comfort zone. Like when she explained it to me, because I thought seriously that I was like, maybe I'm just having anxiety, pero me las barajó. And maybe it is a little bit of anxiety too, leaving the comfort zone, because as we get older, like I said, society no nos da, ourselves in society, and I think mostly ourselves, no nos da ese permission to be able to explore as older adults when it comes to jobs and other stuff. I mentioned that in another episode of like the job hunting one. Que society is kind of like, well, do all your exploring in your 20s, because by your 30s you're supposed to have all your shit figured out and there's no room for gray like area. So yeah, anyways, I'm all over the place. This is already going about almost 35 minutes. I hope you guys like this episode, and like I said, if this is the first one, please come back. Go to the other episodes. I wanted to talk about our relationship with our moms. That was supposed to be episode 31, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just haven't had the mental capacity because with this podcast, I am treating it now like a passion project, and I've been really consistent, even if I don't drop on Mondays. Sometimes I don't have it in me to do like research, and I know some of you guys are going to be like, dude, you're just recording and that's it, which is very true. Pero también I take it seriously in a way, because I'm not saying that I represent all first-gen Chicanas, right? But I want to also talk about things that are important. And someone had suggested like the relationship as the eldest daughter. I can't talk on that subject because I'm not the eldest daughter, but I could put a spin on it, because after my sisters left and got married, las dos, not counting the youngest one, it's kind of like I became the eldest daughter because I'm still living with my parents and my younger sister. So a lot of the stuff like stays on me, like me cae a mí in a sense. So in a way, I kind of am the eldest daughter in a sense. I don't know if that made sense. But I mean, I could talk about that. I could talk about our relationship with our dads. I can talk about the relationship with money. I could talk about drinking in the Latino culture. I could talk about other stuff, but go ahead and go back and check out other episodes, because I think I talk about important stuff. But anyways, yeah, no, I'm rambling. I hope you liked the episode. Don't forget the page on TikTok and on Instagram at the Cres Muy Muy Podcast. I hope you guys like it. Go Mexico. I hope que avancen, but let's be real. Anyways, I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for el apoyo. It means a lot to me. Take care. Bye, guys.